Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And everybody who is not here. But with the wonders of technology, it's like being here. I want to share something with you. It's something interesting, something I've only experienced a couple of times in my life. But let me start with Wendy. I want you to tell the story, as you said to me in the car. Would you mind?
I don't remember.
You know, about the fact that I was in England. Remember that?
Oh, about the veteran?
No, not the
The
veteran.
Vietnam veteran?
No. It was the fact that the Nazis were advancing and I was only 20 miles away.
Oh.
Remember that? And then you brought up something very similar. A soldier who was captured, and you'll finish it.
Sure. Well, I had it came to my mind in the car how Roy was sitting in Brighton, England. At any moment, the Germans could have just been there on the beach.
Just 20 miles away.
Not just for him, but all of England was sitting, waiting like a sitting duck.
I was Jewish, and I'd be the first one.
Yes. And then he made a comment about that situation, that he didn't have any fear, any anticipation of that. His mind didn't go there.
And why not?
It was given to you, what you said to me is that without any words at all, it was just given to you to be at rest about the whole situation, that it wasn't yours to
Let me just
worry.
carry on from here, and then you got one of your own, very similar to that.
Well, I'd like to give the example that
Yeah.
about the Navy pilot.
Yeah, well, we're going to come back to that, and you'll stand up if you don't mind and continue, if you wish. I've only had what I'm saying only a couple of times in my whole life. And one of them was when my father died. And I love my father, which is rare. But his love wasn't like love. I love you. You're such a nice person. I'll buy this and I'll buy you that. No, he hardly said much. If I walk with him, I'd have a little chat with him and ask him what HTO is and, little physics. And he seemed to know. He had 11 languages and he could build anything. But when he was such a decent person, he did not need, his presence was not needed for me to behave myself and discover things. And he left equipment, all kinds of electronic equipment, because he's in the military, not in real military, but home guard, with the tunics on. And so he had to create lines of communication, et cetera, et cetera. But he never said a lot. But his body, his being, said everything, looking back at it. And then he died at 42, because I think he was gassed at the first. And nobody knew what the problem was. He just died. And then there's a certain pain when your father dies, right? A little bit. And I wish I could, I hope I don't mess this one up because it's so important. Oh, yes. And so I started to walk up and down the streets in the rainy England and looking at the back, not the front, of people who used to walk similar to my father used to do it. And one day I just pulled on the sleeve and the person wasn't my dad. You know what I mean? How that silly is. And all of a sudden, something said. And when I say something said, it never said it. This is my... Thank you. You can fix it for me, thank you. It wasn't something like language. It says, your dad did not die. I am your dad, Dad. And that was astonishing, because it wasn't words, but you could put it into words, and the words wouldn't sound sane, but that's what it was saying to me. And it gave me something from that time forward. There was one more time, and that's what Wendy just mentioned. I'll say it. The Nazis are the killers of Jews. That's me. But why am I not disturbed? And I wondered why I just not disturbed. I wonder. Everybody else is scared. Even if you're not Jewish, you don't want them to go over there. They kill anything. But why was that? When I was 16, I think 17, something like that. It's happened one more time. I forget what it was. But this one says, nothing will happen to you. And it's if to say, don't worry, you'll be all right. It's all that. But you can't put it into words. It sounds silly. Now I remember a radio program on CBS. I forget what the name of it was. The person was talking about a soldier that was about to land on France, you know. And he's a Jewish man. And I took notice of it, why he was Jewish. But he got to the same point. He said, when that boat came to the ground in Normandy, and that big gate went to the ground, and you had to go out and know that you were going to meet machine gun fire. He says, how did you feel? He says, nothing. Yeah. He says he'd have felt nothing. He wasn't afraid. But it's more than not being afraid. It's something very precious. And I think there's a psalm that says the arrows will fly by the daylight, or by the day, and the pestilence by night, and nothing shall come upon thee. I've not got it correct, but you know which one it is. That's 30, 60, 91 or 92 is there. And that catches my attention. Nothing shall happen to you. But where does that come from? Not to know what's going to happen and then not be disturbed by it. Now, what was the other story which collates with what I just said, which I enjoyed very much?
Vietnam.
This is a good story.
This was just on television this last week. Story about a Vietnam War naval pilot shot down, prisoner of war for 6 years, just like Senator McCain. And he was tortured.
No, he's not like Senator McCain.
No, tortured.
The outcome is a lot different.
Right. Yeah. Treated in the same manner.
Yeah, yes.
But he came out a better human being than he went in.
He had his hands tied behind his back and hung up
Yeah.
over and over again until his arms were almost in front of him.
They put a hook on the ceiling, bound his hands and his ankles,
And make it worse every day.
and they pulled it so that the sockets, the shoulders were pulled out of the sockets and left hanging there till he talked.
Okay.
He said that it, like just similar to yours, that it didn't come to him in words, but he somehow, every time they tortured him, he said, well, they've done this and I'm still alive. I'm okay. And then they'd do it more, harder torture. I'm still alive. He said afterward that the thought never came to his mind that he would be killed there. It just never came to him.
He just felt the pain.
Wordlessly, he was okay throughout the whole thing.
But he just felt the pain, not the hate to the pain.
Yes.
I need to add that to it, because the anger and hostility and resentment and screaming, that's what they want.
Yes.
Okay. When they don't get it. There's lots of stories about that, but keep going.
Well, that's the...
But I like the part when he went back to Vietnam.
Well, then he returns, and he goes back to the communist commander, who still has the same mindset, and says all these crazy things to him. And he just looks at him with this kind of peaceful look, and he doesn't confront him. But the reporter later says, well, that's crazy what that man said to you. And he says,
he actually spoke to him.
oh, yes, he met the torturers.
He went there to see him.
Yes, oh, yes.
Without emotion.
And the commander they were all so flustered, they didn't know quite what to do with him. Just like they didn't know what to do with him when they had him.
No. That was me. I would do the same thing. And when I disturbed him, then I shoot him.
Well, he did give one quote.
No, just kidding.
He did give one quote that I thought was pretty good. He said, adversity and pain is a terrible thing to waste. He didn't waste it. When he came out, he said his whole life, every part of his life has been a happy-go-lucky
Everything
attitude.
went right.
Yes.
Everything went right.
Yes.
With me, everything goes right. Even the bad happens for good for those that love the Lord. That is it. I've had other experiences which would not be interesting to you, but somehow he discovered, or I don't know how to say it, because I don't think we discover this. It's a gift. And I can remember being that way as a child too, and speaking to my father about things like that. I would always ask him, what's the meaning of life, Dad? He says, you will know. You will find out. Just wait and see. Words like that. Now there's another story, very interesting. I have a professor of medicine in Canada. I won't mention his name because it's not important. But he took on the knowledge I have, and the very first time he gave a person medicine for his heart problem and all the mental problems he had, he was really bad, so he gave him a be still and know and says, here's medicine, and take your medicine and do the meditation, and come back and see me. And I'm going to see what will happen for you. When he comes back, 2 weeks later, he says, "What did you do to me?" He says, "Nothing." "What was this thing you gave me?" "It's something simple." He says, "My heart is better. Everything is better. My whole life in the future is better. I feel like I'm blessed." That's the same kind of thing right there. Now, the same professor, he emailed me. There was a message. And he says, you aren't going to realize that you're not going to believe this. But I have a little son-in-law, and he's only about 6 or 7 years old, and he's not feeling well. And I said to the little boy, all you have to do is make your fingers tingle. As he did the things, the first finger, the second finger, the third finger. And all of a sudden, within minutes, he says, "Grandpa, I feel the magic." That child is like me. I want to make the point here that what I'm trying to tell you, you cannot give it to yourself. Whatever you give it to yourself with a similarity of what we just said will ruin you and ruin you and ruin you and ruin you, because you can't of yourself do nothing. You cannot of yourself do nothing, not even Jesus. Not even him. He spoke. He says, "Become perfect as your Father in heaven." And he got murdered because saying things like that. Become perfect. The word become is so important. It's a process, a little bit of the time. Not one thing. But if you grasp the simplicity of the person who faces you and has it for themselves as the extension of what was put in him when he did not know it was put in him when he was born. Very few children survive being born without the problem of the culture coming into him and displacing who he is, especially the culture of the family, all broken, not even knowing what they're doing, and the kids who are messed up by the parents. Maybe the little child comes in later and all the other kids are broken, and he comes into the world, he's still got this intuition, he hasn't been broken yet. And the kids recognize the beauty of his simplicity, his innocence, and they go after him. How many people understand that? See? You have it. And that's why they hate you. God bless the fact they hate you because you still have it within you. You have that voice. But it is not a voice, and it doesn't talk to you all the time. It may not talk to you forever, but all you need to do is to be like that little kid. Dad, Grandpa, I feel the magic. I have that magic. I love magic so much. I did magic, and bloody good at it too. I'll do some magic tricks in a minute. But the point is, what I learned from magic made me realize there's such a thing as magic. God is magic. How can you explain? How can you explain that he existed always? Nobody made him, but then who made them to make him? one cannot possibly grasp. And it's not for us to grasp. It's a fact. That's all. And has anybody experienced anything similar to this yourself?
I did. Yeah.
Only one, two, three, four. Yes.
I had a very similar, well, somewhat similar experience. I was in bed, and I had, it was just before I had fallen asleep, and there was a presence that came over me, and
Presence of who?
well, it wasn't a person. It was good, because it felt like it warmed my body, and it didn't say any words, but it was saying that you are loved and it's going to be okay from here on out. It's hard to put into words like
Why are you here then?
because I enjoy coming here and I like the camaraderie, and
All right, that's good
yeah.
enough.
But the thing that happened was after I, in that morning, everything had changed. It's like any fear that I had was taken away, and it was
Every material thing?
well.
Or the problem things?
Just any fear that I had, my life was turned around 180 degrees. I was already on that path, thank God, but it was definitely a change where all the fear was gone, and it was nothing, it was a...
That's it. Now, what we're talking about is of myself, I can do nothing. The Father within me doth it. That's what Jesus said when they accused him of being good. You see, he said himself.
Yeah, and an interesting thing is that, in odd moments, up pops the devil in people, and I became more of a threat. It was like I had this inner peace, but then I had warfare in the world, and it was something that I had avoided most of my life, and then I realized, it's okay. I'm going to live my life the way that I should, and make my stands if needed. And it's like the offense of other people's ego no longer mattered.
I'm glad for you, but that is necessary to live forever. In other words, there's two realms. I know in the beginning there's a void. There's nothing. No heat, just absolute absence of heat and everlasting. In other words, you can call it space. Forever space is cold and nothing. And so really, really nothing. But there's something more than nothing. Nothing is necessary for anything to be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing you see in the Bible, which is so brilliantly written, and then in the beginning there was a void, nothing. Now, what can be beyond nothing and still be something? What can be beyond the absolute nothing, absolute distance, no end of distance, but then you can't call it distance, you can't call it anything, it's a void. In the beginning there was a void, it's more than cold. I don't know if you need a zero for mathematics. What would you do without a zero? We would still be digging ditches. You have to think like that. And the thinking like that comes to you. The average person can't grasp what I just said. He doesn't care. Mm-hmm. He's materialistic. He just he feels it and touches it and plays with it. It's it.
Yeah.
He's alive. He's aware. But there's two sides of that awareness. One is a dark aware, a darkness, But it's not necessarily aware, it's a presence. And then on the other side, there's a realm where God, who has always lived and then can always create an image of himself, which is beautiful. The whole universe is becoming more and more beautiful, but for what reason? God wants a sons and daughters that last forever to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see. Now you could say, stupid. How can it be? But I don't know. But I do believe in magic. And that trick with Alan was a good one.
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, I got this inspiration. I was trying to figure out what...
Hey, wait just a minute.
Yeah.
Are you still having your sickness?
I still have my diabetes.
No, you shouldn't have it.
Yeah,
You shouldn't have it.
I understand.
But how old are you now?
I'm going to be 61 in a few weeks.
And you don't have any side problems?
Yeah, I do. I know when I'm not...
But you look strong.
I am.
And
I still climb
I
trees.
think you're going to live a longer.
I pray that I do.
Yes.
I do.
I know what your problem is.
Yeah, I have, well, I grew up in a very emotional climate, and but it was repressed, so everything was blocked.
Are you okay with that now?
Sure.
This is the question. Are you afraid of the future? Are you afraid of anything?
I hang on to stuff too long. That's my problem.
What was that?
I hang on to stuff too long. I won't. I hang on to stuff too
you
long.
hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Anyway, I just wanted to tell you what I experienced when I was 4. My neighbor died, and I couldn't understand the concept of death. And I thought people lived forever. And all of a sudden, I was in the kitchen, and I got this idea. It was no words to it. It was just that I couldn't understand the concept of not existing. I thought I had always existed. I asked my mother, where was I before I was born? And she couldn't answer the question. She just said, you were with God. And
No.
then I said,
You were
well,
nothing.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on.
You were absolutely nothing.
Possibly, yeah.
And most of you will go to the beyond of nothing.
I hope not.
Because there is a beyond of nothing
Yeah, the void.
when you are something.
Yeah,
Because you can either get better or worse.
yeah,
And in this case, the better is living forever in the realm where the Creator is, and we don't know what that is.
yeah,
And the other one is just the opposite, to live forever in a dungeon,
yeah. Well,
in torture.
I watched my neighbor before he died, and I saw something about him that I had an intuition about the guy. He was fading away. His name,
I'm interested in you.
What's that?
I'm more interested in you.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay.
I think you come to the point. Anybody else have that? I would like to hear, is something similar?
I remember.
You were a soldier, weren't you? A medical soldier.
Yes,
I didn't know that before. I just found out.
yes, in the Navy. Well, I remember the first time that words came out of my mouth that I didn't say. I wanted to
But
take.
the bad guy can do that too, you know. Yeah.
I wanted to take this girl out. I was about 15 or 16, and I wanted to take her out on a lake in a canoe. And her parents, they were concerned about her, being able to swim to shore. And I said, well, no, if the boat caps over, you don't swim to shore. You swim to the boat and hold on to the boat, And they thought that was.
Well, what's the point?
The point was that I didn't know that when I said it. Those words just came to me.
Yeah, I don't see the value there.
Well,
Where is the magic?
The magic is that I didn't know, and I didn't have to know, because
That's not clear.
if
No,
it's
that is
time,
not, no, that's not clear. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you don't know the future. You have no sense of happiness or misery. Nothing. It seems like nothing, but it's an emptiness that's being filled with what will be something. And you can't explain it. And every now and then that nothing that is something we can't see that created us is following us somehow, either with another spirit. I don't think he's going to do this on his own, either being a little bit logical. Because know you not, you're the temple of the living God, and the Spirit lives within you. It means he sent somebody to guide you, who loves God. He's in you. But on the other side, you've got a devil. Does the same thing. Bar backwards. Excuse the expression. See, what you need is the magic of the little boy. That's it. The presence of a dad. He was acting the role of a dad. My friend in Canada, who has many degrees in medicine. And he was the one that sent that person out for the first time. He's been using it ever since. But you see, other people don't see it. But he has that. And the joy that he had that moment, when the little boy was troubled, not feeling good, he says, just be aware of your little fingers and your first fingers and second fingers. And all of a sudden he says, Grandpa, I see the magic. Something spoke to him, which he couldn't express. That kid will grow up, and everything he does is correct. And everything he has to suffer does not cause him to hate. And because its hate is what the evil wants. The destruction of you in every possible way. But you will always have that unknowing knowing that you're comfortable with. It's very hard to explain, but how many people here grasp what I just said? I'm trying to bring you to that. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. You are here because you have what I have, and it's attracting you because you are a kind of person that is not like anybody else, and nobody else understands you except your very presence disturbs them greatly, and depending on where you are, it kill you. All the trials and tribulations are very valuable. They have to come. But everything that you think, if you were abnormal, like people call normal, is a tribulation, and a disturbing tribulation. But the tribulation you have is a big deal. Oy vey. I'm going to be okay. Why am I not afraid? Why am I not afraid to die? I'm happy. I exist. But then you'll exist forever. Because the kind of knowledge and experience when Jesus says, I'm coming back to the point. He says, why call me good? There is no one good except for the Father within me. Even Jesus said it as the extension of his Father within him. And he's the extension, radiates forever. So no matter how many people he meets, if he meets 1 million people, he would not be tired of what is flowing through him to give freely, without effort. And at the same time, blessing you forever. Yes. Would you mind standing? I didn't know you came in. I'm trying to make what we're looking for magically simple, the way I have experienced it. I have no sense of fear. I don't look towards, I can see the future coming. I mean, even Jesus says, how is it you can guess the weather by looking at the clouds, but you can't see yourself? See what's within you. Yes, go ahead.
I was just wondering if you could touch on this. The last 10 days, I've realized, without feeling sorry for myself, that I have no one that loves me.
You're lucky. You'll be all right. Just listen to what I say and nothing more. You have what you got it there. It's taking you a long time. You don't have to do anything. Nothing. You don't need to. You're on the right road. Don't doubt. Don't doubt. Trust me. Look at me. Can you trust me?
Yes, I can.
God loves you, especially you. Don't struggle. Take it easy.
I know I've struggled all my life.
Don't struggle.
It was a hard habit to break.
I'll be back in a minute with you, don't worry. No,
No, I don't
No,
need to say anything.
we don't need it, just right now. It's just between me and him. Don't struggle. Please,
Yeah.
please. I'm your friend, I'm not your fiend. The fiend is in there. He says, you got to fix it. You made it. No. He came into you when you were a baby. And now you're a man. Hold your head high. Be okay. Okay. Yeah.
So, anyways, I was seeing that that I'm not loved, and I accept that. I see that no one can love me, and we've talked about this a little bit before, that humans, my children and my husband, they don't have the ability, that it's just God's love, and
Hold it. It doesn't matter what. We're talking about, never mind what's all around you. Do you understand? Do you have has it descended on you? That's the question. Has it descended on you what? Not to worry, not to be afraid, and you don't know where that you're getting that from. How can I all of a sudden not be afraid? But it'd be so normal. You think that everybody should have it, and they should.
My question, and I don't even know if it's a question, sometimes as I speak to you, I see it, is that this last week I cry. It's not that I'm feeling sorry for myself, but I can't stop it.
But you see how you said it, I can't stop it. But you see, she's trying to stop it and she can't stop it. That's what the language is. You must not try to give anything to yourself. Of yourself, you can do nothing. Listen, I didn't have to read the Bible. That little 6-year-old kid I spoke about, he didn't read the Bible. He just recognized the nobleness in his grandpa. He just sensed it. It was there in him. And I'm not sure my professor friend really understands the technology of this. All it did was, it came to him just to make his fingers tingle. It just came to him, and he just came to him. And I say it 3 or 4 times. It just came, and he didn't know. It was, maybe it's fun. I don't think you can find any way of saying, he just did it. And you see me, my jaw drop, because it's such a nothing. But in that nothing, there's a something. In your nothing, there's a something. And only if the nothing is there, the something can exist and act through you. And nothing will come over you that you can't survive. And when you survive it, you're much better than you were before it happened. You have to go through it. I'm going through it now. I'm having a lot of fun. Okay. You watch it. Just watch it. It gets worse. I'm okay. If it gets better, it's okay too. I don't have to do anything. It's not for me to do anything. It's for him to do the thing for me, guiding me. He is in me, and I am in him. That's the scripture. He spoke about that to his disciples. And you read it, it goes backwards and forwards like that. I am in he, and he is in me, and it goes up. Have you ever read that part? It's there. You don't know where it ends. Yeah. What is it about you? Can you be this little kid?
I can. This is my question.
Frustrated is not a good thing. The word frustrate, gone, you're gone.
That's what I'm trying to, I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
You are. Go ahead.
The crying, you talk about emotions, and you shouldn't have emotions. You shouldn't feel emotions.
No, you can't make your emotion go away. You cannot do it. You've inherited it. If you came into the world like Jesus came into the world, if you were a beautiful woman and you have a wonderful husband, see, and he is authority because God is in him. And the only way that a woman can survive in the way it was, or wasn't, opposite to the way it was, the woman can only, here's the words, she can only experience the love of God only when, and there's another side to this too, but mostly only if he has God, authority in him. Otherwise, he's just a man, extension of woman. And he goes back to the woman because his existence appears to come through her and make him. So naturally, like an animal, he goes back to the woman. And it goes on and on and on, generations after generations after generations, and no one understands it. So I know I'm speaking to millions of people, or hundreds of thousands. Ladies, speak to you ladies. You are basically Eve, and you have the side of you that you need to be saved from. But the danger if man pulls upon you for his pleasure and not with love. In other words, if he has intuition and if he's favored by the Creator, that's what you should look for in a man. And maybe the man married a woman and she's the wrong woman, or all women are wrong to some degree and difficult. And if the man can stand that, I have a problem here, right here. She doesn't get it. She tries to get it, but she still doesn't. I've been married 64 years. I have to wait 64 other years, and it's just fine. I have to be what I have to be. But what keeps me alive and what destroys her is the irritation she feels for failing to overcome me. That is the way. The right way is, the perfect way is so simple. I'm trying to make it so simple, there's no words for it. You see, when you come into the world, and I'm coming back to what I've said before, and matching it to what I said this morning. It's simple. If a man comes into the world like I did, because I can explain, not that I'm being clever or anything like that, but I came into a world and my father had something in him that didn't have to teach me anything, but to allow for me to unfold. And looking back on it, that's what it is. And looking back on it, if your father is not authority, which means he's been saved, he's discovered something, he's been blessed, the woman recognizes it and gives him a hard time, or immediately, if she suffers a great deal and she meets a man like that, it's all over. And then always they'll know each other and love each other, and we won't even know that it's love. There's no feeling. Everything works so nice. But the trouble is, we do have this problem. And the woman gives birth to the man, and the man comes into the world. And the man comes into the world comes into him, especially through mother and the failing father, both. And they poison each other. Man looks for love. That's not where love is. It's not where Eve has love. It sucks up the poison. See, that it sucks up the poison. And so not only does it destroy her and make her angry because she doesn't get what she wants when she has sex, because he's abusing her, not loving her. She knows the difference. Ladies, you know the difference. Now, I hope the world can hear what we're saying here. I'm not sure they'll ever understand it. But if it's only just a little group here, I've done my work. Now, you've got to get rid. You understand you've got to get rid of it, but you can't get rid of it yourself. That's the trick here.
You might have already answered me, but I don't know if I wasn't capable or if I'm being stubborn. I don't care that I'm not loved. The point is, there's crying coming out of me that just, and I don't know if it's because I'm just letting go of something, and I don't know, like right now.
What was coming out of you?
Crying.
Oh, crying.
I see my husband, And he cannot love me, and I am okay with that. I see that he isn't not loving me on purpose. He's not doing it to be mean to me.
He
I
doesn't
see
know.
that. I do. I see that I don't love him because I can't. I see that.
No, you don't want to have to love him.
No,
See,
I-
we got to get very careful with words here.
Okay,
He doesn't know how to love you.
correct.
Compassionate.
Yes,
He doesn't know.
yes.
He doesn't realize he's going to hell, slowly but surely. What will make him go to hell quickly, more quickly, or make him come to a heavenly state is the way you deal with him. In other words, again, words are difficult. But if you can see, he can't see. I think I can take it from the Ten Commandments. Honor your mother and your father. The days that there's something.
Your days will be long on this earth.
That's right. And it went on to say something very interesting about the future of the offspring, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see.
Okay.
But the reason why, and this is the only, you've got to listen to this reason, if he does not have it, he's suffering. And if you have it in your mind to see that your husband is suffering and does not have it, all of a sudden, you will have it. And when you have it, your emotions are disappearing, and all that comes through you to embolden you and intelligently direct you is what I've been saying all this morning. Everything you need comes. He knoweth what you need before you ask. You don't have to look for anything. It will come to you. You want a nice car? Oh, wouldn't it? It'd be nice. All of a sudden, someone gives it to you. All of a sudden, you got a good deal. And I bought a boat like that. I mean, it just the same way, just the same kind of thing. I wish I could have one like that. That's all right. Boom. I bought myself an old broken one, little one. But the point is, it was so remarkable that 7 years later, I sold it for 4 times I paid for it. And I enjoyed the whole thing. You see? But that also isn't exciting. Well, that's neat. Oh. I don't know how to put it into language. That's all.
Can I ask you something in a different way? Because I hear everything you say. I really hear you. And I'm coming to that place with my husband. I'm going to ask you a different question in a different way.
Well, what are you doing?
I'm trying to get this out, but I'm not sure. When this sadness, there's a sadness that's just coming out of me. It's just coming out of me. And I understand that I keep saying I don't want to get lost in this emotion blubbering, but I feel like maybe it has to come out of me, but I don't want to be this emotional person.
Listen, it's so simple. The little boy, and my friend who's, a very important professor of medicine, he's sitting with his little boy, and I've told you what it is. He got it. And the reason why he had it is because his grandfather had it. That's all. And he didn't say, you're going to get better, is this. No, he just says, just do that.
Could I say something in reference? I don't know.
It's got to be so simple. It has to be simple. Almost nothing. I always say, if you do nothing right, you do nothing wrong. if you do nothing right, you've done nothing wrong. Do nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't know what the next minute's going to come from.
Roy,
And I see there's something I'm worrying about that? No. I'm happy to see the flowers and the breeze and the so on and so forth. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I don't know if this is anywhere near the truth, but when I listen to this lady, when she talks about crying, the association I hear from her is that her husband doesn't love her. And is it possible, since crying is an emotion, that it could be rooted in anger that he doesn't love her? I don't know. But is that a possibility?
Yes.
If my son would drop dead, I would not feel anything.
But she does. She feels.
No, I mean it. But yeah, but I've got one son that represents that. Oh, not you. Don't worry. Don't become that way, because it'll be the same for you. It's because he's living his wrong life. And in this particular one, he wants to overcome me and take everything I got. And he's not going to stop. And I warned him. He's in hospital right now. What I'm trying to say to you is, virtue does not run in the blood. But Jesus says, think not I've come to give a sword. No, not. What did she say?
Bring peace.
What was it?
Bring peace.
Bring
No,
peace.
it's,
I have not come to bring peace, but the sword.
yeah, that's it.
I don't,
I have not come to bring peace, but the sword.
bring peace.
Yeah.
I have not come to bring peace or love you, but the sword, the family. And then there'd be father against daughter, daughter against brother. Because you have to have a choice. You can't be springing perfectly from somebody. You're coming into the world broken. And therefore, the world comes into you, your parents come into you, and then you are the extension of them and not yourself. And God is not there. But the anxiety of that is what drives you to see, I have a car, I need more. The car is not enough. I need a nice house. I need some drink. I need some drugs. See, you always want something. And what you own, what you think you own, owns you. It's all backwards. See, I am trying to make it simple. There's nothing for you to do. There's nothing you can do that's right. And that's it. And it falls upon you in such a way, especially if you have somebody maybe like me, because I have that. I've always had it. Now, you haven't always had it, but it's a potential to have it. So I'm sharing it and not boasting.
Roy, I have
Yes.
a question here.
Yes.
I know what you're saying. There's a scripture, I surrender all to the maker of the day.
Say it again. So I have a little.
There's a
went to-
scripture that correlates to what you're saying.
Okay.
I surrender all to the maker of the day. You know, I've been searching for a long time, but what it is actually letting go of everything. And not thy will, but his will. And I, like her and females, are always trying and being what you call BIT. But the whole ideal, and this is where you just let go and let God fill this void
That's what it
within
says.
you.
Let go.
Right. But the thing is, and I think
Well,
I'm
why
getting
can't
it
you
now,
let
is to
go of
let
something that
go.
won't work anyway?
Yeah.
It's crazy because you think you're going to give yourself life. No, you have to give up your life, either to the devil in the deep blue sea or
My question
the
too,
Creator. Yeah.
letting go. I'm feeling it now that
Are you married?
he has to give it to me, correct?
Are you-
Letting go?
Are you married?
Yes,
And how long you been married?
40.
And do you have trouble with your husband still?
He's weak.
Huh?
He's very, very, very weak.
And you resent him. Have you tried
Yes,
to, you tried
I want a man,
Have you tried to
obviously.
fix him and try to make him a man?
No, suppose I do. Yes, I have to agree.
You can't. You got to
Yeah,
stop.
I know that, so now I just
He'll
live my
frustrate
life
you.
and
He'll frustrate you into submission. Go crazy. The more you try, the worse he gets. You're not God.
True.
See?
My question to you, though, surrender. I surrender. I can't give myself surrender, but I want it. I suppose that should be enough.
I like that. That is a good question. I don't think surrender is necessary. Okay, God, I'm going to surrender. I don't think.
No, they're words in the Bible, therefore they touch you, and you question it.
Look, where do you think I come from? Honest. Tell me what you think of me.
You're the human being that God put on this earth, and He dwells within you.
Yes?
I
And-
recognize the truth in you of God.
Enough. That's all. Shh. That's all.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Amen.
Could I have the mic for a second? Roy, I think
It's not that difficult, is it?
I think I know why you cry sometimes is because you realize that it's that you don't deserve His love, and that
No.
It's
really
grace.
don't deserve anything.
and it's
And to deserve is to anticipate. Correct? That as clear as I can get. You don't deserve it.
and that's the definition of grace is undeserved love.
It's so magnificently magical. You can't put words around it. The only thing that, in this room at least, and people I've met, which are very rare, like the story Wendy just told you about the soldier with his arms tied behind his back for 5 years and didn't hate the hurter. He had it. He suffered the pain, and the pain made him cry, but not to cry in the ordinary way. Please don't do this to me anymore. I'll do anything you want. No, it's knowing that these people don't know what they're doing. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. This one, Wendy talked about, he goes all the way back to Vietnam, faces the person and smiles and is friendly. Can you imagine what was happening in that person's mind? He didn't want to kill him, but this man wanted to torture him and kill him when he get what they want from him. But he didn't resent it. He just felt the pain and felt the pain and felt the pain and felt the pain. And he did more, but he never thought of dying. He didn't want to, in other words, a lot of people have anxiety, and because the anxiety is so great, they commit suicide, as if to, because there is no other way. The more he takes drugs, the more he's going to take suicide for taking the drugs, because it's only going to make him feel better when it's making him worse. It's a mechanical thing. The more you want, the more you suffer for getting it. The more damned you are. The more damned you are, the more you want, so you're not to feel bad about whatever that is. Drugs, alcohol, anything. Nothing in this world can save you. You can have medicine like I've been sick most of my 50 years old. Well, before that, I went swimming and I got a parasite which set me into, I almost died 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, sepsis. Shush, someone did it to me, is all I can tell you. Didn't like me in the system. It's the third time I survived murder, my murder. One of these days it'll be a book. I'm not going to say it now. But you see, if you look very carefully in the older people under Obama and the kind of person that way back who also were presidents, but more so with Obama, instead of going to hospital, when you go to a hospital when you're old, they will make sure that you are going to die and give you hospice. They did it to my wife. And had we not been strong, knock it off. I'm not going to tell you the way we dealt with it. The dirty, rotten doctor, he didn't know where it's coming or going. And I said, put her up there. You already put her on hospice. No. You put her up there, and 45 minutes from now, she'll be fine. And she was. She collapsed in the bathroom. I took her in the ambulance. But when we got there, he says, we can't fix this, your mind's gone. How do you know that? I said, you need some medicine. Give it to him. Oh, we don't get it. Oh, yes. Well, how long would it take? Well, it will take 4 or 5 hours. I said, no, you're lying. Just put her up there. I know you already put her on hospice. You already did it when he decided, without any expertise, he decided to send her to hospice. That means no food, no water. Hundreds of thousands of elderly people are murdered every year. Okay. I think my friend and my son, the one that I want to keep alive, is signaling that.
No, you don't have to stop. I just don't want you to tell the same story over and over again.
No, but the principle is.
You've been 1 hour, so you can keep going.
No, I'm all right, but I think I'll take it easy today. I think we've made the point. How many people here, honest, was able to grasp the simplicity of it? It's good. So be like that little kid. I see the magic, Grandpa. Have a good day. Thanks for coming. Oh, by the way, you came. I got so caught up in myself. How are you doing?
Doing better.
And what does that mean?
Better and better hurdles.
Give me an example of what better is.
Things are falling off, like caffeine fell off.
I better take. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's just different things that are falling off,
Yeah.
thinking ways and different stuff. So I'm just grateful that I can experience the effortless process rather than trying.
Exactly. Do nothing. Just wait and see. Trust that. That doesn't mean to say you have to anticipate something is going to happen. It shouldn't make any reason at all. All you need to know is don't struggle. Don't look for the answer. The answer is what I'm trying to say, which is unspeakable.
Don't try to figure it out, just realize it.
You just realize that, myself, I can't see into the future. I wasn't created to see into the future for every moment, because the future is always a second away, a fraction. In those little fractions, if you just go through it, you're able to see the beauty of this building, the beauty of the grass. You see the flowers and the bees, and you enjoy watching that. And you're not trying to think of what you should think of. You may be walking down the street and see a little leaf going. I remember the first time. I was in the military, and the evening they have I don't know if they have one of these trees here, but what it does, when it falls off, it spins.
The seed from a maple.
Maple.
Seed, yeah.
I said, how does this work? And then you got dandelions, all those little parachutes. How does it know to do this? Over and over and over again. And grow and make more of itself. Abundance. So we can eat each other. You see? Simple. It's where I'm coming from, and you appreciate this. Something moves inside you, and you're already getting better, and it's only because something is coming through me, but not from me. I am not the giver. I am the agent of change. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come again next week and drag somebody here. Thank you.